Okay, so one more thing I noticed was one, have your 3.1 really, really clear. I'm talking about a session which I did in the first half, because only that will drive the conversation to 3.2, 3.3, 3.4, and then exploration further, and then the closure, right? 3.1 must be really, really clear for you so that both of you should be in the same, have the same understanding as to what 3.1 is, so that you can drive the conversation towards the goal he wants to by the end of the session, right? Another feedback was that, again, last time we talked about it, just some pauses are important. We talked about the last time. Have some pause before have a small pause. That 1 second, 2 second pause will help you a lot in terms of one, think about a question for yourself and asking a question based on what he's talked about, right? And also make the person think as well. So just don't try to shoot questions as soon as the person comes up with his response, right? The third thing was in terms of stack questions. Not sure we talked about the last time. When you ask questions, just ask one question and stop it there, right? So important because you know you might convey the same meaning, but then the client could get confused as to what question should I answer, right? So that is one. Okay, so that is few things noted down. Yeah, otherwise I think they're good so far. I think that's some of the feedback I've noted down here. Yeah. Also, in terms of one conversation I was in, the client talked a long time, right? Again, I know some of you are between 30 and 40 and 50 hours or so. In case the client does talk for a long time, do take the liberty to interrupt if it serves the client in terms of what he wants to achieve for the goal, right? Interruption could be sounded as could sound as rude, but when person keeps on talking, it's good to interrupt and say, "You talked about this is the goal you want. How does it relate to this?" Bring him back to the goal, and then because also you're timing a session, you should exceed 45 minutes in session. So ensure that one you cover that in the 45 minute session, and also that interruption which serves the goal, which serves the client in achieving his goal. That's it. Yes, Satyajit, you had a question?
Yes, sir. I think, I mean, you answered before, I asking, I was about to ask the same question. Someone is trying to explain, and especially a person like me who is vulnerable in terms of sharing so many things and want to share and go on talking. So, you said that, one can be a rude, correct? I have a,
Mhm. Sorry, not sounding rude,
ha, ha,
right? Otherwise, if you don't know the client very well, he could probably sense that you're
okay,
being rude to me,
okay,
right? Ensure that you are soft on it, but then ensure that the goal is important. I think that that's
at the
important in
time.
terms of.
And the time. So now in the, I mean, I just thought, I mean, this is understood, but like sometimes people answer in a very short way. Okay, probably they are testing your patience, and like immediately they answer question, then answered stop. I've seen some cases where I got also, I felt they should talk. It was like trying to correlate like me, and I find that they are not vulnerable or not opening it out. In that case, Subhash told us that probably trust is an issue. Okay, so they may not be opening out, or they are introverts. Okay, now in that case, what type of questions? Because that session is happening within 10, 15, 20 minutes also. Initially, it in my batch also, we were finishing session in 15, 20 minutes. Like I want to jump in the, I am able to swim, but I'm not able to jump. Such type of thing. And Subhash has been telling us take audacious goal because, and I used to ask them that why are you not taking audacious goal where you'll pay me at least 5,000, 10,000 rupees, right? Because then only, we are not doing just for a practice purpose, right? Not like a dummy practice. We should take some audacious goal. My session is to go for 1 hour, 2 hour, and my opposite has to have it at in 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. So then we said okay, whether there's a trust issue or there's no audacious goal itself. Now, in such case, if I get such a coaching, paid coaching, who is, is ready to pay, but is not able to open it out. Now, in that case, how should I go about it? Because my inner soul is saying that, okay, you should talk, you should talk. You know how I am vulnerable, why he is not vulnerable. अरे मैं किससे बात कर रहा हूँ, like, so, that pressure builds in. And I have to keep my monkey, saying, no, okay, ask some.
Okay, so I think we got a mute.
I think you went on mute, Satyajit.
I think some host put
My
some.
bad. I was trying to ask you a question. I think I biased you.
Uh,
I would like to interrupt, sorry, in honoring of the time. If there is a question and you could frame a question that would contribute to everyone, otherwise nobody else gets a chance to ask. So if you were putting up a question, Satyajit, what would that be?
so that question is, if the person is introvert, not opening it out, what type of style which I should use, or what type of question which I should go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Back to that, I think it's good to build a rapport with a client, right? So maybe initially you may not. So that's where the chemistry comes in as well. I think we talked about chemistry the last time. Good chemistry session would help you in terms of making a person trust you in terms of saying what he will not even say to his close family or of his colleagues, right? So once you build a rapport and trust, I think he may open up. Okay, try it
Sure.
out, Sajid. We'll probably discuss it in a later time.
Thank you. Sorry,
Any other
Satyajit, we're like really short on time, but that was a great question and will kind of help us all a lot also. Rohan had his hand up.
Yes, Shweta. My question is actually critical 3.1 and 3.2. So you go on talking about elaborating on 3.1, and all of a sudden, client comes to 3.2. He's talking about measure of success in the session. So how do you continue the conversation from there on? Are you going to go back to 3.1 or continue from 3.2?
Now, was 3.1 clear for you as well, the client, with the client basically, and you as well?
No, my question is like in the event, uh, client doesn't want to like have spent more time on 3.1 and start talking about 3.2. This is my measure of success for the session. So as a coach, how should I control this session?
Clarify 3.1 again, because
Okay.
that is the key. That is what drives your conversation. What
Sorry,
is
I
it you want
think
to?
it may have happened because it's a peer coaching. Because otherwise, in general, if they're clients, how would they even know about measure of success? It is we who know. So I'm just wondering if that is the context.
Possible.
That's
Now in the event where I go back to 3.1, and if there's no major deviation from what was discussed, should I again ask the 3.2 measure of success or go to
That,
3.3?
that changes. The 3.1 changes during the about first 10 minutes or so. This 3.1 change objective, the goal session changes. You can reconfirm measure of success.
If not, I don't want to ask at 3.2. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
So Subhash, please jump in if you
So
want to
I
add.
just want to add on, see, change of goals, what Srinath said is true. If anywhere during the conversation, especially early stage or otherwise, if the goal shifts, you have to go back to CC 3.1. It's absolutely black and white on that. But my theory on it, this is my personal theory, the second one is the client would not go into anything on a tangent or a change of goal if you have done a proper 3.1. So, allowing the client to explore 3.1 deeply and then ask reconfirm, right? I mean, there is a reconfirm also in 3.1. Then after you reconfirm, the client is reconfirmed. Then the client is committing to it. Then you ask a measure of success and go ahead. And Anupama's point, the client success measure as a phrase the client may not know. But I'm Shweta and Shiba here knows, right? We had this discussion in their PCC cohort recently. I feel the client pays you for 3.2. I am very clear on that. Yeah, this again is my personal take. I want you to explore on that in your practice sessions. The point is, the client knows that I need to achieve 3.1. It gets sharper at reconfirmation stage. Then when you ask 3.2, that's where the client that's what the client is paying for. Assuming the 3.1 has moved in that exploration stage at 3.1, the goal behind the goal, or what is behind the symptoms. The client comes to us with a symptom. uh, so whether we use the phrase success measure or anything similar, we need to enable the client to identify something very specific from the session, that is this 3.2, and then build on that. Yeah,
Thank you, Subhash.
we are on top of time. Questions can go on, but some of you may not have had your dinner. So the thing is, we have had 2 sessions of listening. Um, See, all this practice, anyway, it goes into a log sheet. That is a benefit. But more important is that, am I going deeper in my listening, right? And as Mani said before the break, or during the break, I think, this has to become our ongoing focus, right? In all our conversations, can we be more present? Can we be more listening? And can we be more empathetic, more curious? So that's very important. Only then we can listen better as a coach. Yeah, Rohan?
If I may ask one more question, that is,
Awesome.
uh, now with regard to listening using the body language. Now, I remember in one of the sessions we discussed like sometimes body language can give the impression to the client that we endorse certain ideas by
The
nodding our
coach's body
heads.
language, is it?
Yes.
Huh.
So my question is, I mean, oh, on the other hand, if you try to be not showing any body language and make it like a statue, then it may not be able to connect with the client. So how do we find that line? Uh,
It's not easy. Okay, a good question. Thank you for that. So, one, and Srinath, you can add. One is the metaphor, the best metaphor for a good coaching process is a clean mirror. So, you have to be as neutral as a clean mirror. But the mirror also reflects back. So, coaching is partnering. So, you need to kind of like, we have seen one of the two, coach or a coach, one person is at a very high energy, the other person is at low energy. The coach has to in some way match the energy, even if it is about lowering, the speed. Some of us just speak too fast. Some of us just speak too slow. So we need to match the energy. Only then there is partnering. So there is no shortcut to it, or it's not easy, but it has to stay neutral. At the same time, the client sees empathy and the client sees the trust. Client also feels that the coach understands. Coach is empathizing with me. So being genuinely curious, genuinely open, flexible is one of the subcompetencies in listening. The client will get it. But the point is, the magic mantra would still be that unconditional positive regard. Can it truly tap into that unconditional regard? And from there, I start listening. You'll see the client then, anyway, the client will give you more credit anyway. It's a very sacred space for the client. The client is talking, right? I mean, to an earlier point also, if the client is introvert, not speaking, no, if the client is talking about something that is important, they'll talk like a parrot. People will open up if the topic is important. The only thing is we have to set that in 3.1. Yeah, so back to Rohan's question, stay neutral. Don't be too animated or too rock-like in listening as a coach. Match the client energy and make sure that there is partnering. There is neutrality, but at the same time there is partnering. Yeah. Good question. And try this out, please. And don't wait for the next Wednesday for the session. In between, try all these things that you would have seen your coach making some good moves, some bad moves. So you know what not to do, you know what to do, and try this out. Yeah.
Thank you very much,
Srinath,
Subhash.
anything before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think that's it. So I think again, it comes experience. We have to You have to experience the client talking, and then the listening part of it, master listening. That is key in terms of coaching conversations. I think if all of these small things, I think you can probably pick up all these nuances.
Thank
Yeah, I'll have one short story before we end. Something I came across and it truly, really moved me. This is Osho Rajneesh speaking about Meher Baba. Now, I don't know much about either of these spiritual teachers. It seems there is one person who had this gift of listening to the other's thoughts. Somebody could just come in front of the other person. This person could listen to what you're thinking. And this person goes to Meher Baba, it seems. He used to be a very popular spiritual teacher in the Himalayas. He sat there for hours together and he couldn't pick up a single thought from Meher Baba. Because then he said, Meher Baba had truly reached that Shunya space or Turiya space, whatever we call it, right? So if you're able to still that, no, then the listening will be the generative listening that Otto Schama speaks of, level 4. And it is not for spiritual teachers like him. It's just the matter of setting the intent and trying it out. And you experience that once, then you'll be tempted to go back to that space. That I can guarantee you. You have to just experience it once. Yeah. Then all other competencies also will fall in place. Yeah. So on that note, thank you for joining. Hope you had some
you.
great.